Elaine was cooking on the first floor. Hearing that Mrs. Wilson cursed the street early in the morning, she hurried out to watch the excitement. Here, Charlie and Claire also happened to go downstairs, just to see Elaine coming out. She hurriedly asked excitedly, "Hey, have you heard that dead old woman scolding the street?" Charlie and Claire nodded, and Claire said embarrassingly, "Grandma, don't know what's wrong with her. She started cursing on the terrace on the second floor early in the morning." When Elaine heard this, she said excitedly, "Claire, hurry up. Help me go upstairs and have a look," Claire said helplessly. "Mom, what's so good about this?" Elaine put her right arm on the crutch, patted her left arm on the sitting leg, and blurted out, "Is there anything better than this? Help me go quickly, otherwise, it won't be a good show if I am late." Claire could only sigh and said, "Then I will help you up." Seeing this, Charlie helped Elaine up first and said, "Wife, let me help Mom." Claire nodded and said, "Then I will press the elevator." The couple supported Elaine all the way up to the third floor. Elaine came to the terrace and looked down, and saw Mrs. Wilson next door sitting on the ground of the second-floor terrace screaming. In the house before, she could only hear Mrs. Wilson being noisy, but she couldn't hear what she said. After coming out, her voice became clear immediately. Mrs. Wilson was still scolding at this time. "You are Horia, who has suffered 1,000 swords. You dare to steal the hard-earned money of mine. You have no conscience. The old lady curses you to be hit by a car when you go out." When Elaine heard this, she laughed, and shouted, "Hey, old woman, what's the matter? Isn't your eldest daughter-in-law the most filial to you and the one that suits you best? Did she steal your hard-earned money?" Mrs. Wilson suddenly heard Elaine's voice, and when she looked up, she saw Elaine's grinning face. She was angry and gnashed her teeth and cursed, "Elaine, our family affairs have nothing to do with you, bitch. You don't talk cold words here." Elaine curled her lips. "Oh, you are in your 7s and 80s. You scolded the street on the terrace in the morning. Why do you still have the face to say that I am a shrew? You are so cheeky." Mrs. Wilson said angrily, "You shit. The biggest bitch in the world is you, Elaine. Do you think you can pretend to be a good person if you live in a Thompson first grade and wear good clothes?" Elaine was not angry, and said with a smile, "Oh, old lady, you also said, I am now a person who lives in the first grade Thompson, and the quality of the first grade Thompson must be mentioned. I can't be like you. You have been living in Thompson, and you ran to steal other people's food. Are you not shameless?" After that, Elaine hurriedly said, "Oh, yes. The leek stolen from our house last time. Did your family eat the leeks well? You?" Mrs. Wilson trembled angrily, gritted her teeth, and said, "Elaine, you used the daffodils to harm me. I haven't accounted for you yet. You dare to mention this to me?" Elaine smiled and said, "You stole our leek. Why can't I mention it? I heard that it was because of eating our leek that your eldest daughter-in-law found out that she was pregnant, right? So in the final analysis, you have to thank our leek for this. If it weren't for our leek, your son would like to be a father." Mrs. Wilson was immediately furious. The incident of eating daffodils and incontinence at home was the most helpless moment in her life. Whenever she thinks about it, she feels like a knife. In addition, she was already immersed in the pain of stolen hard-earned money and couldn't help herself, and now she was ridiculed by Elaine's old story again, so the fire in her heart was about to ignite this villa. Just when she wanted to scold Elaine and didn't know where to make her mouth, a police car hurriedly drove downstairs. Several police officers got out of the car, and Wendy quickly opened the door, so one of the police officers asked Wendy, "Is it the call from your family?" Wendy hurriedly said, Yes, it was my grandma who asked me to call." When Mrs. Wilson heard this, she hurriedly got up, squatted on the balcony guardrail, and blurted out crying bitterly, "Comrade police officer, you must help us to call the shots. Our house has been ransacked. The hard-earned money is gone. Can't live anymore."